Towing, for what many is the worst part of the journey, is one of my favourites, and today's video I'm going to be taking you through some of my top towing tips to make your journey better, more comfortable, safer and more enjoyable. So yeah, let's jump into the video and I'll take you through my top towing tips. I've towed many thousands of miles now. I was trying to tot it up. I know how many I've done in our personal caravans, but mostly my towing is done through work. You know, I've tried to work it out, but it's completely impossible. But I think I got to about 5,000 miles at work, and then probably 3 to 4 here, so maybe 10,000 miles, but that's a complete guess. And I've towed all sorts of caravans, starting off with my Discovery D42, through our own personal caravans, the Phoenix 640, and now this new Verona, all the way up to caravans at work, towing big 8-foot wide twin axles, such as Buccaneers, Swift Elegance Grands, and Bailey Alicantos and Coachman Lasers. So, your big twin axle, 8 feet wide caravans. I've towed 8-foot wide single axles, standard width twin axles, any combination of caravan. I've had one on the back. So pretty aware of the various types of caravans and how they behave. My main first thing is to get the caravan ready, and that is probably single-handedly one of the most important things to make a safe journey. So when you're towing an empty caravan, that's probably when it's at its worst, because you've got no weight. You're simply only able to have the caravan as it is. So go in the caravan and just see how the layout is. I find, this is a tip that I was taught through work, if the caravan has a rear island bed and you've taken the caravan away from the dealer, you've just picked it up from service maybe, or you've just picked it up for the first time, quite often with the rear island bed caravans you can essentially lift the nose up because they're so light. Best thing to do, you've got that big heavy mattress, pop it in across the front seats. You'll be surprised how much extra nose weight that will give you. Your heavy weight over the axles, and then your lighter stuff placed throughout the caravan to counteract the weight to get it in the right place. I always tow with weight in the car if we're going on holiday, such as the chairs and the awning, to balance the car out to make it a bit heavier as well. Talking of tow cars, making sure you've got the correct tow car. So many people overlook this. The right power, the right car for the job, and the right weight. So, highly recommend the Caravan and Motorhome Club Tow Match service. There is others online, but I've had mixed results with them. We use TowSafe at work. I use it absolutely every day. It's fantastic, but you do have to pay for it. Caravan and Motorhome Club Matcher is free of charge. They have all the data on there you need to know, and it's important to make sure that you're not exceeding 100%. And that's the rule that I use every day at work. 85% is purely a guide, and many newbies choose to abide by 85%, which is that's fine. However, I always say to people, if you go up to 100% is absolutely fine. And you've always got to remember that the weights on these matching service are based on worst case. The caravan at its full MT PLM or max weight, and the car at its curb weight, which is mostly the car with a full tank of fuel but nobody in it. And remember, quite often there'll be 2 people or maybe a family of 4. By the time you put an awning in there, your chairs, everything else, you've got to put a couple 100 kilos in that car. So these matching services are always at worst case. What happens when I snake? I have had snaking before. Happens quite often, unfortunately, especially in sometimes my job. I need to deliver a caravan, but unfortunately, unlike when you go on holiday, you can maybe postpone the times. Quite often we have to do it on that specific day, and that could mean towing in some high winds, and it's something that I've become very, very used to. So, on the motorway, the worst time you're going to feel it is when you're coming across one of those bridges, a flyover. And I always find that is the worst place for it. Now, most people's thing is they will touch the brakes, accelerate, or do anything like that. For me, I always lift off the throttle, let the car and the caravan settle itself out. If you've got the correctly matched car and caravan, like we said earlier, your car isn't going to be dominated by the caravan because the car is heavier than the caravan. Let the car sort itself out, come through the wind, and then if you need to, stay at that lower speed, bring the speed down and keep it at a lower speed until the wind goes. Sometimes then you can pick the speed back up and pop back onto the speed you were doing. Buffeting is another one on a motorway. You're going to feel when you're coming especially past a lorry or a coach and you're overtaking in the middle lane of a motorway or in the outside lane on a dual carriageway, you come past, the car has come through and the caravan is still beside the lorry. You push through the air and the caravan will quite often start to move around. That's completely normal and it's simply the air being pushed around the caravan. I always find if you just keep going, the caravan will sort itself out. It's simply it pushing through the air. Completely normal and a very normal experience. So if you've never towed before, this is quite normal. What I'm going to do now is we'll hop in the car once I've hitched the caravan up and I'll just do a bit of practical demonstration and a bit of talking as well. Right, first things first, I'm in a lay-by. Little tip here, if you can, try not to pull. These sort of lay-bys aren't too bad, but when you've actually got no it's not a pull-in lay-by, it's just on the side of the road. Don't take the whole length of the lay-by, because then actually you can use some of the lay-by to start picking some speed up. Keep looking at that mirror. We can see a lorry in the, or I can see a lorry in the distance there, but he's still quite a way away. So we'll pick the speed up, get out before he is there, pop the indicator off, just pick some speed up, pop my car into manual now. Personally, I got an automatic. I like towing in manual. I prefer a little bit extra control. Today's not too bad. It is a little bit windy, so we'll just take it steady. There's no need to rush. We are in no rush today. Cruise control, yes or no? I tend to use it on the dual carriageway straights like we've got here, or on the motorways. I'm just going to set the cruise for 60, dead on. There we go. And yeah, we'll just set it for 60, which is obviously GPS a little bit lower, about 58. So yeah, we'll get that set up. And as I was saying earlier, keeping a light grip on the steering wheel. Hopefully we'll try and pick some various situations that we can today up on the road. Bits that you need to be sort of a bit wary of if you're a bit of a beginner. So yeah, we're just coming on to some smaller roads now. This is the sort of normal sort of road that you're going to be contending with, going to a campsite, I'm sure. So taking your corners nice and wide, again braking in a straight line. Those are my two main tips I'll give you. Taking the corners wider, something that Dad's always taught me early on, and I tell you what, it's so much better than cutting through the corners. Obviously this sort of road, you're on a 50-mile-an-hour limit. I didn't talk about that earlier. 60 mile an hour on your dual carriageways and motorways, 50 miles an hour on the single carriageway roads like this one. And that also does apply, remember, when it is an overtaking lane on a single carriageway lane. You're still restricted to 50, even if it is got a one lane of overtaking. You're still restricted to 50. That's an easy one to remember. I've seen online people have been caught out by that before. You are still only restricted to 50 miles an hour, especially with just this lorry coming over. I do, when a lorry's coming past, try and position a bit closer to the left. Quite often they overhang, especially on these sort of smaller roads. And yeah, I just always try and move out their way a little bit. So, you know, people can always overtake you, and do expect it. People do, you know, want to get past you, and that's absolutely fine, because obviously you are going slower than they might want to do so. So, you know, do expect some people to do heroics around you. I've seen my fair share of pretty interesting driving around you, and it's completely expected. You're going to expect that happening. Yeah, it's just something that you become used to, especially on like the motorways, and when you're braking, expect people to cut in front of you. If you're braking in, you know, into a roundabout or something like that, someone will just jump in front of you. But it's just all about keeping on top of your mirrors and just, yeah, keeping a good sense of space around you. Talking about sort of going through sort of the narrower roads, the best thing to do is take them at walking pace. That way you've got plenty of time to keep looking in your mirrors. If you're not sure if you're going to get through something, stop, get out, have a look backwards, think, oh, is there going to be enough space? And if you believe there is, go for a walking pace, and then you can judge the space at at a good time. There's no point in rushing through. You might damage the caravan, you might damage somebody else's property, you know, cars, etc. So, you know, if it's a small gap, I had one recently. I had a really narrow gap with an 8-foot wide caravan, and again, just taking it really down to a walking pace, literally on tick over, and just yeah, essentially do it slowly. Again, this is a great opportunity to show this. Got a wall the other side, people can be flying around the corners, and of course we're needing to use a bit more of the road than in a car, and especially here we've got a blind corner, so I'm just bringing the speed right down. Look through, and there's no one coming, so that's good, so we can borrow a bit of the borrow a bit of the road so that we miss that wall on the other side. So yeah, that's my little towing demonstration. In a minute I've got some lanes to contend with, which yeah, they're a bit more tricky, but with the lanes, I'm going to want to concentrate on those. So I don't want to really be doing talking and talking anyone through it, but with the lanes, I just always say take it at a really slow pace, sub 30 miles an hour. When you're coming around the corners, you just don't know who's going to be coming around them. So as I was taught when I drove, always stop in the distance you can see, and obviously you want that to be even more prominent when you're towing, because your stopping distance is obviously greatly increased. This is a bit of a horrible blind junction, so we'll just roll out of here. Straight out. Lovely. Well, yeah, hope that's been helpful, and yeah, back to me in the caravan. So we've driven to the site and we've arrived, and now we need to reverse onto the pitch because our motor mover's broken, we haven't got one, or we're unable to push the caravan. Now, reversing is a fundamental thing that you should really be able to do. My personal opinion is that it's good to be able to reverse, because quite often you'll be unable to use the motor mover, or it's impractical to do so. You sometimes just need to move backwards sometimes if you're on a smaller road, so that a tractor can pull into a pull-in lay-by maybe, or something like that. I've done that so many times. Number one thing with reversing, take your time. So many people rush. They're on a caravan site and all they want to do is get the caravan on the pitch and the kids are screaming, and stop. Just stop. Slow down. Take the reverse slowly. If you need to get out, that's absolutely fine. There's no shame in quickly hopping out the caravan and just checking how you're getting on. I do it all the time. Another one is slow steering inputs, and small ones. You see so many people, they're all here with a wheel, and no need to do that either. Small steering inputs. That's so much better. The bigger the caravan, the easier the reverse. The smaller the caravan, the smaller the inputs. With a twin axle caravan, you'll be able to use bigger inputs. With a small caravan, such as a small 2-berth, my Discovery D42 was an absolute nightmare to reverse. You had to be so slow and small with those steering inputs. With a large twin axle, if you are pushing the wheel quite a lot, it will forgive you. But the smaller the caravan, the harder that it is to reverse. So, be slow, be steady. If possible, have someone behind you where you can see them looking behind. If not, get out often. Of course, reversing on your side is so much easier, because quite often I'll wind the window down and look out the window. That's so nice. One hand on the wheel, window, head out the window, and you could just see the caravan pushing round. I do that tip all the time. Of course, reversing on your blind side is so much harder. That's when someone becomes really helpful. Reversing is only practicing, and there's plenty of fantastic videos. I think Caravan Guard, if they did do one, and I'm 99% sure they did, I'll link it in the corner, did a fantastic video on reversing, something that I certainly can't replicate because I haven't got all the cones. I could teach someone how to reverse easily, but they made a fantastic video on it. But those are my tips for reversing. Be slow, be steady, and use very small inputs, because quite often the reason people jackknife their caravans is because they're putting full lock on and the caravan turns immediately into a very sharp angle. And if you're really struggling, go to a supermarket car park or an industrial site on a Sunday morning when no one's around with the caravan and have a practice in a big space. That's exactly what I did when I started, and yeah, practice makes perfect. If you guys have got any questions that you want to ask me about towing, put them in the comments, and if there's loads of comments, I can always make a follow-up video and answer those questions as well. Now, I always say to people, if you're really nervous and you're thinking of becoming a caravanner, get yourself on a towing course. There's so many places out there. The two main caravanning clubs, the Camping and Caravanning Club and the Caravan and Motorhome Club, both do fantastic towing and manoeuvring courses, and they're a fantastic way of building up your skills since the abolish of the BE licence. And remember, with the new licence, that any person can tow any caravan with a gross weight of up to 3,500 kilograms. So that means that you can have any car with any caravan or trailer that has a gross weight of up to 3,500 kilos. So that's any caravan, because no caravan weighs 3.5 tonne. So yes, that is the basics of towing and a couple of my small tips. If you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comments below. As I'll say, this is my personal opinion, these are my personal tips. I am not a towing instructor or anything like that. I am someone that has done many thousands of miles of towing abroad and in the UK, towing a wide variety of caravans. So as always, if you want professional advice, please check out the caravanning clubs or speak with a towing instructor, and they'll be able to give you professional advice. This is from someone who is a keen caravanner and that has done, say, many thousands of miles towing. So if you have any comments or questions, put them in the comments below, and otherwise I'll see you in the next one. Thanks guys, bye bye.